Hello, my friends. Dr. Jimmy at your service. Yes, I hope you all checked your calendar this morning. Yes, I checked my calendar. It reads March 5th. No, I'm sorry, that's not right. It's March just ended. All of March is over. We finished marching. We were marching down the avenue, down to the cemetery, to march down into the crypt to craft. No, that's a silly song I learned when I was just a little ghoul. Anyway, oh, no, it's marches. All the marches over. We're now on the first day of the month that follows March. If you get my meaning, it's time for all secrets of Halloween Horror Nights 29 revealed. Well, I suppose this video might have been made on March 5th, and then I just sort of held it until it was time to post it today. Or maybe, just maybe, I'm making this video on the morning of September 7th, 2019, after I enjoyed the event and saw everything that was happening, and then came back through time to post the video. Yes, through a little blue box I traveled in. Or maybe it's an old man who drives me around in a flying DeLorean. Or a couple of dudes I hang out with in their phone booth. You never know. There's one way or another to get a video where it needs to get to the right date. But that reveals at last where all my secret sources come from. I don't have any. I simply go to the event in the future and come back and tell you about it in the present. Why do you think they call me Doctor? Oh well, enough of all that. I hate when that happens. Let's get on with it. So, to tell you about what they're going to do for Halloween Horror Nights 29, I have to tell you a little story. Once upon a time, years and years and years ago, it was the year 2000 to be precise, they came up with this happy-go-lucky fellow with the big wide grin and called him Jack. Oh, yes. But Jack had a little brother. In fact, let's go back further than the year 2000. Yet, way long time ago, in a tiny little place called Shady Brook Asylum, a little baby boy was born. Dark hair and a sullen demeanor, but he had a twin brother who was born a few minutes before him with bright ginger hair and a happy attitude. Yes, it was little Jack and his little baby brother Eddie. Poor Eddie grew up in the shadow of his much more flamboyant and noticeable brother. He was so popular, everyone wanted to have fun with Jack, even while he was dismembering them. Oh, yes, little Eddie was never so popular. He didn't have the social skills. He tended to go back into his room and read his horror books, read all the scary stories, and eventually comic books, listening to creepy radio programs. As the decades wore on, he watched all the scary movies. He got really excited when the movies started getting more bloody and violent. He really loved the story of Leatherface and Jason and Freddy and all of those other wonderful slashers. Thrilled him. But he never quite got to be as a star like his big brother. And he always resented that for such a long time. But finally, after fashioning himself, putting on a mask, modeling himself after some of his heroes, especially Leatherface and Dr. Hannibal Lecter and Jason Voorhees, Eddie was ready to go out and terrorize on his own. Excuse me. Ah. And he had more than a bit of the rock and roll about him, too, I must say. Because after the year 2000, when Jack got to be the star of Halloween Horror Nights, Eddie was ready to take his place. Oh, yes. In the year 2001, he was going to make a broad coup and slash off his brother's head and take over the event to become the king of horror here in Orlando. But plans go awry. Plans go awry. We cannot always account for happenstance, and his timing was really off because a terrible disaster, a horrific attack occurred in the United States when the terrorists attacked New York and Washington, D.C. on 9/11, and everything changed, and Eddie was told, "I'm sorry, Mr. Schmidt, you won't be able to be the icon for our event this year."
What? What do you mean I don't get to be the icon? You promised me.
No, I'm sorry. We're going to have you leave the event now.
What about my house? What about Run?
Well, Run is still going to happen. It won't be exactly what it was originally designed to be, and you won't be in it.
What?
No, I won't. You won't be in it.
And who the hell is going to be the icon this year?
Well, Jack.
What? Again he was icon last year. Why does my brother get all the good shit?
Well, poor Eddie. He was really, really pissed. And so... Oh, I went into the voice of the little Universal rep guy again without going into my own fake Vincent Price voice. Poor Eddie. He wasn't even allowed to be at the event at all. They sort of just pushed him to the side. Well, a year later, there was lovely little Cindy. She was going to be running an event. She would be the new icon when the event moved to the Islands of Adventure. She was planning all sorts of fun and games, delightful things, but then... excuse me, Miss Cindy? Yes? Miss Cindy, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to ask you to leave. What? What are you talking about? We're not going to be able to use you as the icon this year. That's not fair! I was going to be the first one at the islands, and I have all my toys, and... What? You can't do that to me. I'm only a little girl. I'm sorry, Cindy. There's been all these dead kids in the news lately, so we're going to have to ask you to leave. What about my house? It's going to be Scary Tales. You did Scary Tales last year! Who's the icon? It's going to be your dad. Dad? My dad's going to be the icon? He's boring. He's old. I'm the fresh young face of Horror Nights. Come on! What's wrong with you? You can't treat me like this. I'm only a child. I'm sorry, that's kind of the problem. This is so unfair. I'm going to burn your face off. No, please, Miss Cindy. Just step aside. You know, we'll have other plans. Bye-bye. So, Cindy also got shoved to the side, and her father, Albert Kane, became the caretaker that year, 2002. Well, a year went by, and then another year, and it was 2004, and they were going to have the event at both parks for the first and so far only time, and then something happened. Excuse me, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Eddie Schmidt.
Yes, what the hell is it?
I just wanted you to know that you are going to be participating this year at Halloween Horror Nights.
It's about frickin' time! So, are they going to do Run? Are they doing my house at last?
No.
So what am I? I'm in a house though, right? Am I the icon?
There's no icon.
No icon. You've had icon the past 3 years. Why not? Why not let me be the icon? If you're not going to let anyone else do it, why not let me do it? I'll do it.
No, we don't want an icon this year. We've got 2 parks, no icon.
That's stupid. So you're not doing Run, but you're going to have me in a house.
Yes, you'll be in a house.
All right. What's my new house going to be called?
Well, the house is called Horror Night Nightmares.
That sounds catchy. Yeah. All right. What's it about?
Well, actually, it's not your house. You're just in the one scene in the house with the others.
What? Who else?
Well, there'll be the caretaker and the director and Jack.
Again? How many times is my freaking brother going to be at the park for this thing? I mean, aren't the guests sick of him already? Jeez. So I got to share a house with my stupid brother and that doctor and the film guy. And that's my debut for Horror Nights. Sharing with these other schmucks. And my ass clown brother. Jeez.
So the poor little Universal rep managed to get the hell out of the room before he got his face chainsawed off, but that was... and here I am forgetting to stay back in my voice. Well, you know, I have alters. That explains a lot about Dr. Jimmy, doesn't it? Yeah. There's we are legion.
Yes. Anyway, so...
So, what happened? Oh, yes, that was 2004. Well, 2005 went by, and then it was 2006, the year horror came home. And so, once again, there was... Excuse me, Mr. Schmidt?
What? Are you finally going to make me icon this year? I understand the event is back at the studios. This will be the first time since 2001 that the entire event is at the studios. Horror comes home. I was supposed to be the icon in 2001, so wouldn't it be appropriate for it to be me this year, 2006?
That sounds cool, but no, you're not going to be the icon.
So who the fuck will be the icon?
Well, it's going to be a joint thing. We'll have 4 of the former icons. You know, the caretaker, the director, the storyteller, and Jack.
Uh-huh. So you're having the guys the former icons, but not me! So what are you here to talk about?
Well, we are going to do your house run.
Finally, the way it was meant to be.
Well, no, they've changed it. It's going to be called Run Hostile Territory. You'll be in the house, but it's kind of sort of based loosely on that film, Hostel.
The Eli Roth movie?
Yeah.
I did like that movie, but I'm going to be put in a knockoff house. Jeez. And my stupid brother is icon again. Well, he's sharing with the others, but still he's the icon again. That's like the 3rd time he's been an event icon. If he can share with the caretaker and the storyteller, I mean, that old lady, why can't he share with me? Huh? I'm his frickin' brother. Gee.
The rep then went over to the next dressing room. Excuse me, Miss Kane? Miss Kane? Yes? Well, you are going to be at the event this year. Well, it's about time. You've left me out all these years. Finally, What am I going to do? Do I get a house? Do I get to be the icon? Well, no, I was just explaining to young Mr. Schmidt that we have Jack and the storyteller, your dad, and the director this year as the icons. So what am I doing? Am I going to be in a house? You'll be in a house, yes. You get to be in your father's house, the Scream House Resurrected. Oh, good. At last I'll get to scare people. And jump out and take them and burn them and... No. You're just going to lie still in a coffin. You see, you're dead. That's not fair. I don't want to be dead. I've been dead before. I'm alive again now. I don't want to be dead now. Why do I have to be dead? Who the fuck do you think I am? Snow White? Excuse me, young lady. Mind your language. And that's the wrong company anyway. You do kind of look like her, though. And you just lie in the thing, and no one's going to kiss you to make you wake up. You lie in the coffin, look very dead. Don't move. Live people are scared by dead people who move. Scared to death, in fact. Isn't that the point of the place? Well, yes, but this is your dad's scary house. You're just going to lie there and be like Pathos. Isn't that one of the Three Musketeers? Never mind. So, poor little Cindy. She had to spend the event lying dead in a coffin and not able to frighten anyone at all, except for people who are scared of dead girls in coffins. But, oh well. Oh. Eddie got even more upset. In 2007, Jack made the icon again. And not only that, he was lording it over many of Eddie's idols, heroes from the movies he'd grown up enjoying and watching, such as Freddy, Jason, and Leatherface. And there was Jack playing them like they were his toys. He was very upset by that. Didn't like that at all. Why would Jack get to be another icon for a fourth time in only 7 years? 2000, 2001, 6, and yes, fourth time. He just felt he couldn't get out of his brother's shadow, that it was terribly unfair. More years passed, 2008, 2009, and then it was 2010. No, I'm sorry, get ahead of myself. 2009. Miss Kane, I have some great news for you. What now? You know, it's been 3 years since you had me dead in the coffin. What are you going to do? Replace the rat lady with me, only I just lie there while the rats eat my flesh? No. We've got something great news. You get to be alive in a scare zone. You get to come out and play with the guests at last. Well, that's good. Am I the icon? No, wait a minute. The event's already started, and it's that movie, that new boy, what do you call him? The usher. And he doesn't look anything all like the one I've heard on the radio. No. Yes, we're doing Rip from the Silver Screen, and I'm doing the PR guy with my own voice. No, we're doing Rip from the Silver Screen and the Usher, but we're going to do a special scare zone with you to close the event, and well, not just with you, but it's going to be called Shadows from the Past. Oh, so this is going to be like the last 2 or 3 weeks of the event, right? No, just the last 3 or 4 days of the last week of the event. Oh, so I only get to be there just a little bit? Oh, well, at least I get to be there this time. So it's all about me, right? Well, no. The usher will be in the zone, and so will Jack. And so don't tell Eddie, he's going to pitch a fit. No, he doesn't get to be there, so we won't even mention it to Eddie. But Jack will be there again, and your father and you. So I have to be there with my dad. I can't just be on my own. Well, I have some really great news to tell you about it, but you gotta keep it secret right now. Okay, okay. See what it is if the really smart guys who look on the internet when we announce Shadows from the Past, there's going to be two like tree branches forming like this and like this. And if they're really, really smart, they'll realize that a double X is the Roman numeral for 20. Get it? Next year is Halloween Horror Nights 20. You see, what we're going to do is introduce you for the very first time in this Shadow Scare Zone, and they'll see, you know, the usher and the caretaker and Jack, and they'll see some body collectors and some other characters over the years, but they'll meet you for the first time, and everyone's going to be talking about Cindy because of that. It's kind of a tease, a little clue we're putting out for next year, because you get to be the icon at last next year. And Cindy, of course, hit the ceiling. Oh, I get to be the icon! She was bouncing up and down. She was happy. She was glad. She was excited. At last, after 8 freaking years, she gets to be the icon for Halloween Horror Nights 20. What about the others? What about Jack? What about the caretaker? What about my dad? Huh? Well, you get to kill them all. Oh, goody! She was so happy. She was giddy. She was going to kill off the old icons, and she would be the new Horror Nights queen. Oh, plus she even got her own icon house called the Orphanage, where she gets to burn things. Something Cindy always likes to do, the little pyromaniac. What fun. The poor little Universal rep, though, had to go back to Cindy's room right around spring of 2010. And it was like, excuse me, Miss Kane, I have to tell you something. Oh, come on, I want to show you this pointy knife. I'm going to be using it this year for some stabbings. Oh, it's so pretty and sharp. Oh, I think it'll be just right. Of course, I'll be using a lot of my pyrokinetic powers. This is the first year they're going to make that an issue, and I'll be burning things with my mind. I like that. What were you going to tell me? Is it hot in here? It could be. Yes, Miss Cindy, I imagine. Excuse me, hold on for a moment. Let me just get this. Why are you holding the fire extinguisher in such a amorous fashion? Is that going to be your new buddy? No, it's just a precaution in case I need it. I'm sorry, Miss Cindy. I'm really, really sorry. But I'm afraid I have some unpleasant news. If you're about to tell me that they're not going to let me be the icon again after leading me on for a second time, totally unfair, because I'm only a little child, it's going to get really hot in here. Where did he go? Yes, because he ran out the room as fast as he could. And it was true. They screwed Cindy a second time. Poor girl. She was so ready and excited to become the icon. But they took it away from her again. And poor Eddie. He, too, was told that he would be at the event, but he would not be the icon. No. They were told that there was a new icon. Cindy was out. There would be an icon called Fear. fear itself, a great demon. And Jack would be there along with Chance and the caretaker and the director and the storyteller and the usher, and these five would be their minions of fear. But Eddie and Cindy would simply be supporting players in Fear Revealed. And you can imagine how they took that not very well.
So you get this makeshift last-minute icon you just slap together to be in the event rather than me. And all the big icons, supposedly, all these guys that you've used so many times are like his minions. But me, I'm just an afterthought, just supporting character to Jack. No better than his bimbo Chance, and poor little Cindy running around, just a prop for her dad. I should chainsaw all your faces off.
Yup, he wasn't happy. No, wasn't happy at all. So there they were. Cindy did have a house that year, and Eddie and Cindy both got to show up in the big house called the Hallowed Past, but still, it was mainly just hopping around at the end of the house to scare guests as they were leaving. So, Cindy and Eddie started hanging out more frequently after this together, after being in the scare zone with each other, commiserating over all of the times they'd been cast out. And Cindy, of course, had been promised Icon twice and had taken away from her. Poor Eddie had been living in his brother's shadow, was never allowed to be Icon, never allowed to really have his house run the way it was supposed to be, the way they'd originally designed it. Everything was just so wrong, so unfair. They'd been so mistreated for decades. And so they watched in 2011 when Lady Luck became the Icon, and they were talking to each other.
Can you look at that? Look at that. This is the second year in a row they've got some last-minute makeshift art, marketing design, something they came up with in marketing. Fear, Luck. Not even real names. And no house. Why wouldn't an Icon have their own house? Fear didn't have one last year. Luck doesn't have one this year. Shh. It's ridiculous. When they got perfectly good icons like you and me to use.
And Cindy's like, Ed, I was designed by marketing.
Yeah, I know that. But art and design fleshed you out really nice afterwards. Pun intended.
Yeah, that's funny, because originally I was a burnt-out corpse with a porcelain mask, and now I'm a real girl, like Pinocchio, I guess. but, and you're right, though. I mean, they didn't think Luck through all the way, did they? It's just a bunch of last-minute stuff that clever guy Rick came up with to incorporate her into the backstories of the houses. The fans actually named her Fortuna. I do gotta love the fans.
Yeah, you're right there. They're the only ones who care about us.
Gee. He kind of sounds like Patrick Warburton. I didn't realize that. That would be a good person to play him in a movie version, wouldn't it? I didn't realize the voice I was doing till just now. Oh, sorry about that. So, they were watched, and they were even more horrified. When 2012 and 2013 and 2014 came and went, with no icons at all. And they looked at each other and said, "Good Lord, there's no icons at all this year. We're here? Don't we exist?" You know, they said it's probable that in 2020 they're going to do another big event retrospective, and they'll probably draw us out of mothballs like they did in 2010, and probably not give us anything really good to do. We won't get a lot of stuff, but well, in 2015 for the 25th anniversary, they're likely going to do something like that. Maybe they'll give us something to do. But in the meantime, maybe they could have given us an event. But they didn't. They had no icons at all. In fact, Eddie was like,
"What is this, Hollywood? It's all about the IPs now. It's all about movies and television programs."
"Jeez." But then along came 2015. And again they came back. "Excuse me, Mr. Schmidt."
"Yeah, I know. It's going to be the 25th anniversary year. So they're going to bring me back. But what am I going to do? Am I going to be the icon like I should be?"
No, actually the icon...
"Don't tell me. It's my frickin' brother again, isn't it?" I don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that, the ass clown.
"Yeah, you're right. He'll be the icon again." And with his little girlfriend, Chance.
Yeah.
She's not the icon. She'll be with him, though.
Right.
So, what are you going to have me do? Do I get my house run? Well, actually, we are doing run.
At last! The way it was meant to be!
Well, no, because you're not going to be in it.
What? You're going to have me at the event, you're going to have run, but I'm not going to be in the house? The fuck?
Yeah, I know it sounds weird, but the run concept they're doing this year is sort of a parody of The Running Man.
Look, I'm Eddie Schmidt, the ultimate horror fan. I spent my formative years warping my brain by reading every book of horror and watching all the horror movies until I was totally obsessed and had to go out and kill people myself. The way no one really does in real life, but parents always think their kids are going to do that. And so, I've read every frickin' book by Stephen King 782 times each. I read The Running Man back in this old paperback, which I've read so much it's falling apart. And look, on the cover, it doesn't say Stephen King, it says Richard Bachman. That's how original this paperback is. And I know what The Running Man's about. And that frickin' movie with Schwarzenegger was a joke. That was camp. I don't like camp. I don't like campy, stupid shit like that. I want horror, I want gore, I want mayhem. Rawr. And you're telling me that you made a parody of The Running Man? A parody of a parody. And called it Run and left me out of it. So.
Hello, Lenny. That's a good cat. Nice cat.
Sorry, broke character to play with a pussycat.
Kitty, kitty, kitty. Kitty, 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 kitty. Kitty, kitty, meow, meow.
All right, because what would a Dr. Jimmy video be without an appearance by Lenny the Wonder Cat? Continuing Ed's rant.
What house am I in, then, if I'm not in Run?
Well, you get to be in a house called Jack Present.
What? You're gonna stick me in my brother's frickin' house?
Well, it's a retrospective house. 25 years of monsters and mayhem.
Uh-huh. So it's gonna have scenes from all the old houses that were really popular, like
body collectors and cycle scare. No, they're going to have their own houses this year. Well, actually, they're both going to be a different house. Body collector, cycle scare be in one house.
Weird.
You'll be in that house with Jack, though, as babies in a little cameo.
Oh, yeah, because we were born in Shady Brook, back when the body collectors haunted it. That's clever.
So I get a little baby cameo. That's not it, though. No. You'll be in Jack's house, but it's going to have scenes from Gothic and nightingales and many other, the classic monsters, the Forsaken, all of those scary tales, all of that inside the house.
So I get a scene in the house then?
Well, not exactly. You get to be the last scare.
That's not bad.
You chase the guests out at the end when they come out the exit. You chase them out with a chainsaw. Half the time.
What?
Well, you're going to be on one of the cast, and the other side. Sometimes when guests come out, it's going to be Meaty Meats chasing them with a chainsaw.
You're going to make me share with the guy with the big boy head?
He's not even a person. What even is under that? That's a corporate symbol for a fictional corporation. And I'm going to be sharing with that guy, and sometimes he's going to be there instead of me? Fuck. That's bullshit. I'll do it, but it's bullshit. How much is Jack going to be in the house, though? You said you have scenes from all the haunted houses. So is he just going to make one pop-up scare, too? Well, no, he'll be all through the whole house. In between each scene, there'll be a Jack, and then it'll climax with rooms full of Jacks. And,
I figured. Everyone wants more and more Jack. No one can get enough of Jack. But Eddie gets shoved to the side. Damn it.
What about little Cindy? Yeah, what about me? Because she was right there. Well, she gets to have a little scene in the same house. She gets to pop out of a coffin like Snow White did in Scary Tales a few years ago and scream at him. Well, at least I'm alive in the coffin this time. But that's it. Well, no, because Cindy will be in the scare zone.
What scare zone?
The icon scare zone.
I'm not an icon, though, right?
Well, no, the icons will be up on stages doing kill shows on Hollywood Boulevard. And some other characters and some lesser icons will be running around the streets with chainsaws.
What? Who is getting chainsaws?
Yeah, and wait a minute, said Cindy. Do I get a stage show? Do I get to burn someone? No, it's going to be the storyteller, the director, and the usher, and your dad. But not Jack. No, Jack gets a big show on the main stage.
Figures.
With chance.
Figures.
And then what happens is that you, Cindy, and all of the others, like greed and pride, the 7 deadly sins, and La Llorona, and others will be running around with chainsaws. Lady Luck will be there too with a chainsaw.
So she's an icon, but she's not good enough to get a stage show. Figures. Fear's not going to be there, though. We'll probably never. And Bloody Mary, poor thing, is caught up in legal red tape. We'll never see her out here. La Llorona is sort of like a sub for Mary, ain't she? Maria instead of Mary, right? I can see through you. So you're going to give chainsaws to everybody. Like Oprah Winfrey. You get a chainsaw. You get a chainsaw. You get a chainsaw. Everybody's got a chainsaw. Yeah, I get that. And Cindy's get to play with a chainsaw. You'll like it, kid. It'll be fun. But it cheapens me. That's my thing. Everyone gets a chainsaw, and I'm not in the frickin' zone. Jeez. Well, that changed, of course, because they came to him and said, "Excuse me, Mr. Schmidt." "What is it? I'm going to get ready to chase those guests out of the house again." "Well,
that's part of the problem. We're going to have to take you out of the house for a few days, maybe for the rest of the event.
What? You finally give me something at least, and now you're taking this away too? Prepare to die.
No, 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 no. We're going to put you in that zone. We thought we had a good idea. We're going to put you in that zone with Cindy and the chainsaws. So you'll be lead chainsaw, I guess. Also, we're thinking about putting you in Run at least one night.
Well, I kind of talked to that before, how that's not really Run anymore. It's a parody of a parody, and it just really isn't me. So I'll do it, but I'm not going to be in the house. Do the same thing like with the Jack House. Put me at the end of the place with those Russian radioactive guys, and I'll chase the guests out. One night, you said. You should have put me in there from the beginning, you idiot. I mean, Run is my brand, even when you screw it up.
So after 25, Eddie and Cindy felt the whole thing was a debacle. And again, they were very distressed. And they're sitting around talking it over.
Horror Nights is going right down the crapper. What the hell are they thinking?
Well, I guess they only want brands that people recognize. That's why they haven't done any new icons since Lady Luck. I mean, look. They had The Walking Dead to sell the event for 3 years. And then after that, good old Jack, everybody knows him.
Well, what about us? We're recognizable. The fans know who we are.
True.
Instead of, if they're not going to go with new icons, why not use us? People have been waiting for us for, over a decade. It's 2016 now. That means it's been 15 years for me and 14 years for you. You're not even really a little girl anymore. You gotta be in your 30s by now.
Don't tell anyone. It's my shtick.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll see what happens.
And when they saw what happens, you can imagine their fury. Because just before that, Eddie was saying this to Cindy.
I don't know. I'd like to be the icon, but it's ridiculous. I mean, as I was saying to that little schmuck he came by the other day and said,
"Hey, Mr. Schmidt,"
I said to him, "Hey, who do you gotta blow to be the icon around here?"
And when the announcement was made, Eddie said,
"Okay, I see now who you gotta blow. My brother!" They made his knockoff Harley Quinn, Bimbo, the icon.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Schmidt, but we thought Chance was so popular last year in the show that she should be given a star.
Uh-huh, yeah. So you finally decide to take a side character and make them an icon, and you pick Chance, not me. I've been around for years longer than her. Cindy, she's been around for years longer than her. And instead of using one of us, you use Chance. She hasn't even been in a haunted house. She's only done stage show, and one time in a scare zone that really wasn't even her, unless her hair color can change like a chameleon or something. I mean, it was red and curly, and then it's black. So it was black originally. And they thought, oh, everyone's going to be not going to be looking at her hair, they'll be looking at her chest. Well, 90% of the guys, maybe. But there's 10% that are more interested in her hairstyle. And a lot of them work for Universal and theme parks like Disney, or are fans. And they're going to be looking at her hair and saying, that ain't right.
That's not Chance.
Yeah. I know that. Don't ask me how I know that.
And Cindy says, yeah, there's no Mrs. Eddie, is there?
Shut up!
And all those muscle magazines you keep in the back.
Shut up, Cindy!
So, what they didn't realize, of course, is that when Eddie had said,
knock off Harley Quinn,
dismissively, Chance happened to have overheard, and she came in and says, huh, Harley Quinn, huh? So, that's pretty big talk coming from Leatherface and Wednesday Addams. So she got the last laugh on them, because you don't get into a war with words with Chance. So after that, they were really fed up. And they thought, well, they gave Chance a chance. Maybe in the next couple of years before the anniversary event of Halloween Horror Nights 30, when they're going to bring everybody back like they did in 2015, most likely, maybe that's what they were doing by giving the old people, the people that the fans knew about, the people that fans recognized, like themselves, a chance. And so they started with Chance. So surely in the next 3 years they would give one for Eddie, one for Cindy, maybe the Terror Queen, maybe they might for someone else who people thought would be a good choice for an icon, like like the Voodoo Queen Mamba, or H.R. Blood and Guts, or one of many other characters that people thought had potential to be icons instead. They were really hoping for this. Would it be? But indeed, it was not. 2017, 2018 went by and there were no icons used. 2019 will be the last year before 2020, when all of everyone will probably be brought back, and they were certain that they would only be sidelined again and used just as supporting characters, and Jack and the others would be the star of the show yet again. They couldn't handle it. It was driving them crazy. And they said, we are going to stop this.
Cindy,
Yeah?
they're not going to use either of us for icons. This year they got the same thing planned as the last year. They're going to have Universal Studios Florida, 10 haunted houses. 5 of them are going to be IPs. 5 of them are going to be originals. They're going to have 5 scare zones. They're going to have Academy of Villains. They are going to have an extra show. So they'll have 2 shows. They've been working on that. But no icon. The whole thing is going to be pushed by Stranger Things, just like last year. Except this year it'll be Stranger Things 2. Right? Because that's going to be the big thing. And we're going to be cut out of it again. I can't take it anymore. They're never going to give us our turn. I was supposed to be the icon back 18 years ago. You were supposed to be the icon in 2002 and again in 2010. They never gave it to you. They kept screwing us over and over. My house run has never been done properly. You've never been able to open your toy box. You were supposed to wipe out the old icons and bring in a new age of darkness. And where are we now? IPs like Hollywood. We gotta stop this. We're gonna be icons of this event, whether they want us to or not. And that's what's being planned. It took me nearly 50 minutes with that little stage production. I got to play Jack and I got to play Eddie and Cindy a little bit, had fun with that.
but that's what's being planned this year. Indeed, they do have, as previously announced last month, Stranger Things 2. At least I think it was announced last month, sometime in March, except, of course, it's only March 5th, so I don't know if it was announced. Time warp again. Yes, well, I imagine that things go the way I expect them to, that Stranger Things 2 was probably announced before April 1st. Just to make this give some verisimilitude to a video that wasn't actually made on the day it's posted. And they're going to use that as the focus for the event, of course, just like they did the year before. Just like Eddie had said, that's what was expected. But they decided they're going to have this little twist of having Eddie and Cindy filled with rage and anger and resentment for decades of being ignored and shoved aside and misused. They want revenge on Universal, revenge on everybody except the guests whom they love. And they're going to do so. And so even though there are going to be 5 IP haunted houses and 5 original houses, even though there's going to be 5 scare zones, none of which have anything to do with Eddie and Cindy, they're going to become basically the flash icons, so to speak. They're just going to run in and interrupt like Kanye West at an award show, coming in to take over the event. So you'll see a commercial where it'll be all about Horror Nights, and suddenly it'll be like the sound of a vinyl record being scratched and a rip in the screen, and Cindy and Eddie are there going to say, "We're coming in and we're taking over the event, and you better not try to stop us, or we'll chainsaw your legs off and barbecue you with our fire." Yes. That's going to be the theme, like they are hijacking the event. And what's going to happen is Cindy and Eddie will interrupt all 10 haunted houses at various points, but you'll never know which one. And so you go through a house, and it might be perfectly normal, but on one night you go through the house, and suddenly in the middle of this house, Eddie and Cindy will be taking over and chasing the Demogorgon around with a chainsaw. You wouldn't expect to see that. They've worked it out so they can allow this to happen with the rights holders of the IPs. And, of course, it'll also be in the original house and in the scare zones. Every time somewhere in the park, sometimes 2 or 3 places throughout the evening, Eddie and Cindy will pop up to terrorize and take over a house, a scare zone, a show, whatever, and you'll never know where exactly they're going to show up. Very clever idea, because they want their event, damn it, they're going to get it one way or the other. Now, what are the haunted houses? Well, as I said, there are 5 IPs, and the first of these is Stranger Things 2. No surprise, that's already been announced, probably. March 5th. Anyway, and the second one, they needed to save some money, of course, because budgets are always a problem. They start running out of money, and they realized they could save a tremendous amount of money since they're doing 10 haunted houses. How do you budget for that and still be able to put on a good event? Well, it's very clever. They came up with an IP that would require almost no money at all. A popular film on Netflix that has become really, really popular and rather silly, called Bird Box. And so the idea is you're going to be like the characters in Bird Box, and you have to be blindfolded when you go into the maze. So all the guests will be blindfolded, and there'll be a rope. You know, you get to put your hand on the shoulder of the person in front of you if they're willing to do that. Or there's a rope that you follow to go through. So they don't have to actually build anything in the haunted house. There's no scenery. They don't have to have any costumes or makeup. They save tons of money. They just have you go through there while the scare actors will simply be making lots of noise and waving stuff in your face, you know, various props, it's just like they hang from the ceiling stuff, and they can actually move it around so it feels like something is brushing past you. There's obstacles on the floor. You might trip a little bit, but they're going to go through. They can shout and scream and yell and make threatening noises, gunshots, whatever sound effects are going off. Flashlights, because you can see a little light or darkness through that. You can't see anything, but you can tell if it suddenly got brighter or darker as you go through it. All this stuff to recreate some of the stuff in, automobile accident noises, monster noises, whatever the creatures are, lots of wind, all of that through the house, but without any of that visual effects. Very cleverly done. So that's the second haunted house. The third IP is one that we've seen for the past 2 years, Blumhouse of Horrors, but this time it'll be quite different. This time it'll be the same tent, of course, but they're going to have 4 different Blumhouse features, one of which has been out for a couple of years, and 3 of which are being released this year. One was just released earlier this last month, in March. A couple of them in the spring. And interestingly enough, there's sort of a thematic connection. They're all African-American horror films, like horror noir, like the documentary they had on Shudder. And so we have 2 Jordan Peele movies. We have Get Out and the new one, Us, which just opened last month. Remember? Terrific movie. At least I think it will be. I mean, it was. And in addition to that, Thriller, which has nothing to do with Michael Jackson, but it's that slasher movie from Blumhouse called Thriller. And Ma, with Olivia, what's her name? Damn it. I hate when I forget people's surnames, but Olivia I can remember because I have a niece who's also African-American named Olivia. I think I do. Yes, I do. I've got 7 African-American nieces. No, 8 actually, because one of Cindy's kids, but also Dawn's kids as well. I forgot about that because Dawn adopted, although Cindy, that's through her, just through intermarriage. But in Dawn's case, my other niece, she adopted. So I have all of these people in my family. I have everyone in my family. It's a beautiful rainbow of children. The youngest generation of my family is a beautiful little rainbow. And if everyone's family was like that in a couple generations, we'd have peace on earth. Oh, well. But as I was saying, Olivia, what's her name, who was in Shape of Water, and I think she was in that movie about the rocket scientists and mathematicians that got written out of history until recently when they found out, yeah, there were these black women that helped us go to the moon. Now she's in a movie called Ma, which is rather amazing. She gets to be a villain in a teen horror movie. So she gets to be she gets to kill a bunch of stupid white kids, like Freddy Krueger or Jason does. So it's quite wonderful. So all of these movies from Blumhouse will be featured in this Blumhouse of Horrors. And then the 4th IP is another anthology-type house, but it's from an anthology movie. It'll have different scenes from different stories that are featured in the upcoming Guillermo del Toro epic, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which is also based on some books from many years ago and wonderful illustrations. This is a Lionsgate picture, and they could work out a deal with them. And so the problem with IPs is they can't use Warner Brothers, and they can't use Fox because of Disney. So they have to go to their own Universal releases, like the Blumhouse movies I mentioned, but also they can do deals with other companies like Paramount and Sony, Columbia, Sony, or Lionsgate or others who don't have the problems they have with Warner's. But this first video is over an hour, and I'm going to have to go to part 2.